Welcome back to Black Enterprise Business Report. For many young people, retirement is a lifetime away, but preparing for it should begin now. When you start investing early, you have a better chance of accumulating a solid retirement fund. In studio to talk about how to plan for retirement is author and CEO of Sterling Investment Management, Jaquette Timmons, and John Simons, Senior Personal Finance Editor of Black Enterprise Magazine. I want to thank you both for joining us. Jaquette, I want to start with you. Why is it so important to start young when you begin to think about retirement?
For many of the reasons that you've already mentioned, which is the fact that you actually have more time on your side to actually do it.
A lot of people like to wait until they're 45, 50, not quite the case.
Well, because when you're in your 20s and in your 30s, retirement seems like so far away, and the time goes by so quickly. But it is because of that people don't really take advantage.
What advice do you have for young people, especially in their 30s?
Well, most people, when they come to me at that age and they ask me what should they do, they're really asking me how should they prepare their portfolio. And one of the things that I always recommend is to take a step back and really envision what do you want your retirement lifestyle to be. So it's really another stage of life. So I always ask people to think about how do they want to split their time between work, play, and civic responsibilities, and to actually even envision not necessarily retiring at 65, but what if you entertain retiring in your 50s or maybe even in your 40s if you're lucky.
That's the key to basically retirement these days, is that people need to stop thinking about it as this kind of thing that you do when your hair grays.
Right.
And they also need to sort of rethink what retirement will mean to them. In other words, it's not always sort of sitting on a beach when you're 70 years old and sipping pina coladas every day. It could mean working a little bit to generate a little bit of income and living off of your savings.
But your strategies for retirement in your 20s and 30s is much different than the strategy at 30, 40, and 50. Am I right?
Yeah, you can be a lot more aggressive when you're young.
Right.
You can take a few more sort of chances. You can be a little riskier than you would if you were in your 40s or 50s. But the key is to start early and don't wait until you're approaching sort of older or middle age to address these things.
What about if you're single or if you're married? Is the retirement strategy the same or different?
You see, that depends because you need to be aggressive, but for different reasons. If you're married and only one of the spouses is working, the working spouse needs to actually prepare for retirement for both of you. If you're single, you need to be mindful of the fact that there's no one else that you're going to be able to rely upon. So you both need to be fairly aggressive with your investment strategy, but for different reasons.
And also you need to both be on the same page, and that takes some working out. I mean, I know my wife is very conservative. I'm a little bit more willing to take risks, and the two of us really have to sort of get together and decide how we're going to invest going forward. And it may be some compromise in the middle. You wrote an entire book on this.
I certainly did.
We don't have a lot of time, but let me just ask you real quickly. 401ks, 403bs, other company-sponsored retirement plans have all taken a hit over the past couple of years. Is it still, though, an ideal way to invest for retirement?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, you have the tax-deferred strategy behind it. And if you can maximize your investments and do the match, which the company offers, it's the best really option that people have, I think.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, people need to remember that the stock market, that stocks, even though they're volatile now, it's still historically one of the best ways to amass wealth.
Okay, and I did say it was the last question, but something real quick. I think this will be very user-friendly to those who are watching. If someone wanted your help planning for retirement, what specific advice would you give them, Jaquette?
Specific advice would always be to start with the what. Provide context. What are you going to be doing with your life at the point of retirement? Then use that as a way of backing into, well, how do you structure your portfolio? Those would be the first top two things.
Okay. Jaquette, John, both of you, thank you for your insight. We appreciate it. To read more about developing a sound retirement plan, pick up the October issue of Black Enterprise Magazine on newsstands now. Still to come, our 2009 Small Business of the Year, the Phillips Company, and we visit New Orleans.